All right, that's the celebration choir as we're about ready to hear from the Reverend Al Sharpton and the attorney Benjamin Crump. With me now, activist Berry Accius. Berry, thank you for joining us. You and I visited in the same position Friday, 11 o'clock. The videotape was yet to have been released. Since the tape came out and everybody had a chance to see what happened, as we sit now at the funeral of Tyre Nichols, what's your mindset?
Mixed emotions. Where do we go from here? A lot of symbolic gestures of progress, a lot of political pandering, and just not enough initiative to create true change that will be sustainable and will not allow black people to die like this.
You and I talked about this a little bit off camera. We are hearing from people, public people, politicians, who are now saying we must have a meaningful discussion about how these things happen, which is the same thing, and to your point, that you hear all the time, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the pandering that's happening, a lot of the like when you talk about VP Harris showing up, I think that's disingenuous for the reality.
Really?
Oh, I totally believe it.
Okay.
I mean, and it's a good look for the family. I mean, it resonates a sense of urgency, but you have to understand we've been here before numerous times. I'm just thinking about in March 3rd, 1991, Rodney King. Because this is a similar situation.
Very much
It's
so.
Rodney King 2023. We've been having the same conversation for 32 years. 32 years of us not being able to protect black people from this kind of brutality. Not only the brutality with police, just the brutality in general. Where when you look at our Asian counterparts, our beloved Asian family community was able to get an anti-hate law put into practice, into law, when the hate things were going on with them, and we are still here, black people unprotected. So when I look at the George Floyd law that was supposed to be enacted, and this was a talking point that this administrator used to get votes, why haven't we been talking about that? Why hasn't that been put into play? And I know there's going to be issues with the House and Congress, but how many more times are we going to have to see or witness moments like this in America till someone says enough is enough, and we actually have to practice what we preach and don't allow this to be a moment, actually create change?
So if you were speaking at the funeral today so eloquently, would you say that? Would
100%.
that be okay, so we have the Reverend Al Sharpton who's coming up and the attorney Benjamin Crump. What would you want them to say that they haven't already said?
I just think that after a while, you know, we celebrate Black death too often. We're almost desensitized in the idea that this man died, but to get this kind of reaction for his life, he had to die the way he died. We don't have that type of energy when it comes to black men and black people living. We don't see this kind of moment when black people are asking, especially black men, for the help, the assistance, whether it's our mental health, whether it's housing, whether it's opportunities. I just think that we need to draw back on this idea of it's just Tyre. We just look at our whole community. We have been suffering. And what are we going to do to challenge administration right now and the ones that may be coming in the next round in 2024? We cannot continue to stop these conversations after a death and reignite the conversations when another death happens. There has to be real true policy change. My idea, my thought process is you can't change a racist heart, but legislation can protect and have value when Officer John now thinks, wait a minute, because of policies and procedures and these new laws, I may lose my pension. I may lose my job. That's significant to create change and reform in policing, what would stop individuals from doing these heinous acts. And those things have not been put in place.
All right, speaking of the Reverend Al Sharpton, Berry, thank you. Let's take you back now to Memphis and see what the Reverend Al Sharpton has to say.
At this great church, people like Jason Turner not born in the ministry every day. A lot of ministers show up when the cameras show up and leave when the cameras leave. But he's been with us in Nan for many years, and he's a great giant in his own right. Give a hand to Reverend Jason Turner. Let me also say that I want to recognize there are other families that have come from around the country that know what Mr. and Mrs. Wells is going through, and all of the siblings. I want them to stand and be recognized because they know what it is to sit at a funeral like this And I know the family of George Floyd is here. Stand up. Brandon, Phalonis, the family. Botham John's sister is here. The mother, Phalonis and Kiki is here of the Floyds. There's Botham John's sister, and Brandon, the mother of Eric Garner from New York, is here. Gwen Carr, the mother of Breonna Taylor, Tamika Palmer, is here. And there may be others that I did not have the note for. I want the family to know that they've come to be with you on this day from all over the country.